Hey guys, and welcome to Charged Up News, a quick roundup of EV stories from around the globe. This week's show includes the current plans for Swedish electric vehicle company and their first car, the Unity 1, a 700 horsepower electric drag racing Camaro from General Motors, Ford start production of the electric street scooters for DHL, the progress of EasyJet's US partner Wright Electric toward an electric passenger airline, and a story from Evolve Skateboards showing their products can benefit anyone. But first up on the show, Nikola Motor Company has revealed their newest hydrogen electric truck for the European markets. European testing is projected to start in 2020, and the truck will have a 500 to 1000 horsepower motor and a range of 500 to 1200 kilometres, depending on options. Currently working with Nel Hydrogen of Oslo to provide hydrogen stations, the current plan is that by 2028 they will have 700 stations in the US and Canada, with European stations coming online around 2022 and covering most of the European market by 2030. This third truck in the range joins the Nikola 1 and Nikola 2, and as with the other trucks, it will easily outperform current diesels while also offering its 15 to 20 minute recharge time. We live in an amazing time for transport innovation, and in the commercial sector, there seems to be a huge fight developing between the battery-powered vehicles like the Tesla Semi and these hydrogen fuel cell powered trucks. The race for range and reducing recharge times, especially for batteries, is going to be fantastic to watch. Unity from Sweden has announced plans to establish an electric vehicle pilot production plant at Silverstone Park in the UK. The facility will be used to produce the Unity 1 electric car while serving as a blueprint for assembly plants throughout the world. The Unity 1 is of course a 100% electric car with a target range of 240 kilometres, a 130 km per hour top speed, dual motors with an output of 120 kilowatts, a 26 kWh battery pack with DC fast charging, and a 900 kilo gross weight. Back in July, Unity took their cars out on the streets in Sweden, and the cars really do seem like a jump forward into the future. With the current trend of modern cities shutting down areas to cars and trucks to ease pollution and congestion, these tiny two-person EVs could be the perfect way to get around town easily and protected from the weather. It may be a while before we see these types of cars in Australia, but I can definitely see the benefits in Europe and in the mega cities around the world. 50 years after the original Camaro special order performance models were introduced, Chevrolet's e-Copo Camaro demonstrates an electrified vision for drag racing. Developed by General Motors in partnership with electric drag racing team Hancock and Lane Racing, the concept car has an 800-volt battery pack, which is double the voltage of the Chevy Bolt, more than 700 horsepower with an estimated quarter-mile time in the 9-second range. It does look cool, and perhaps GM will get this car out there before Ford does an E-Mustang. General Motors really got the jump on everybody in the late 90s with their EV1, which basically matched the original model Nissan Leaf for acceleration and range, and they really should be the market leader for electric vehicles. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you check out Who Killed the Electric Car. It's certainly an eye-opening documentary. Volkswagen has made some very ambitious claims about its effort to go electric, and the latest quote from Herbert Diess shows that they obviously see Tesla as their main competitor. In an interview, Diess said, "Here we come very strong now. We've invested 30 billion in electromobility. We have already rededicated a plant in Zwickau, and we are building an electric vehicle plant in Shanghai. We will come in 2020 with vehicles that can do anything like Tesla and are cheaper by half." Now, assuming he's talking about the Neo versus the Tesla Model 3, that would mean a base price of approximately $22,500 US, which is fairly hard to believe. But if they end up coming in under 30,000 US for a car which can do 400 kilometers, then bring it on. One of the arguments which regularly comes up in regard to EVs is what happens to the batteries at the end of their life cycle. Now for Audi, battery recycling is a key element of sustainable electric mobility. From the extraction of raw materials to the CO2 neutral e-tron plant in Brussels to the recycling of components, Audi is committed to environmentally sustainable production. With their partner Umicore, they've successfully completed phase 1 of their strategic research cooperation for battery recycling. The two partners are developing a closed loop for components of high voltage batteries that can be used again and again. Particularly valuable materials are set to become available in a raw materials bank. In their latest lab tests, it's been shown that up to 95% of the elements used in the battery components can be recycled. After a downturn in the sales of EVs, the Austrian government has come up with a bizarre way to encourage people out of fossil cars. The incentives are you can drive in bus lanes, free parking, and you get to legally speed past everybody on the highway. Austria currently has speed restrictions on some of their highways to reduce air pollution, but under the new legislation, this doesn't apply to EVs. Along with monthly fuel and vehicle tax exemption and VAT deduction for all zero emissions vehicles, Austria is really pushing forward for sustainable transport. Now here in Australia, our government incentives include pretty much nothing. But we do have some good infrastructure coming online soon. ChargeFox has successfully raised $15 million to enable it to commence building Australia's largest ultra-rapid network of charging stations for electric vehicles. The stations will be open to all EVs with power outputs up to 350 kilowatts, which can deliver 400 kilometres of range in 15 minutes. The initial rollout will be at 21 locations, including 2 locations on the Hume Highway between Melbourne and Sydney. And while it doesn't look like much on the map, the majority of Australians live in the southeast corner of the country. We love doing road trips, so I can't wait for the day that we can jump into our electric van instead of our dirty gas guzzler. In news from Germany, Ford has partnered with DHL for its first electric truck, the street scooter Work XL. These short-range delivery trucks will have a relatively small battery pack of 76 kilowatt hours and a projected range of 124 miles or 200 kilometres. Primarily for package deliveries around town, the street scooter's range of Work L and Work XL, as well as other small commercial EVs, could initially outnumber private transport EVs as companies realise the economic benefits of getting away from internal combustion. EasyJet, the budget airline operating in Europe, has made an announcement that progress has been made by their US partner Wright Electric in the development of an electric passenger airliner capable of up to 270 nautical miles or 500 kilometres. Without providing any details, a patent application of a novel motor design suggests an all-electric passenger jet appropriate for EasyJet's UK and European network is in sight. Wright Electric is making preparations to perform a first flight of a 9-seater electric aircraft in 2019, and the projection is that the electric airliner would fly by 2027. Now, the IPCC has given us 12 years to transform our dirty transport options, and with innovations such as this, it may actually be possible. Our last story for the week is a little different and comes from Evolve Skateboards in my home state of Queensland in Australia and features John Coutis. John is a remarkable Australian who was born with a severe physical disability in which doctors gave him little chance of survival. John has not only defied medical opinion, he has thrived and is acknowledged as one of the world's most inspirational speakers. Without the lower part of his body, John embraces a full and positive life. He rolls around on his custom skateboard and uses humour to communicate some of life's most important lessons, and has delivered his inspirational message to over 6 million people around the world. After seeing an Instagram post with John rolling out on stage on his custom skateboard, Jeff Anning, the creator of Evolve Skateboards, decided that Evolve could definitely create something better for him. Based on the Bamboo GT, John's new board has custom padding and a front control handle. I know how much I love my Evolve board, and I can just imagine the sensation John must have had as he got to blast away on his new machine. So that's it for this week's show. As always, if you'd like to keep up to date with the latest EV news and you're not subscribed to the channel already, then hit the red button below and tap the bell notification, and I'll see you on the next one.